Hi guys, welcome back to GFFA Games. We are in the Old Republic once again on Alderaan still, and we're heading up to one of these two areas up here to continue our quest. Looks like we're gonna have to kill some guys. Let's do it. So these guys are killing some kind of bug, you know? Anyway, they're nice and easy to kill, so let's not worry about that too much. Not that you were worried about it, but you know what I mean. Check him out. There we go. I think last episode I had a little bit of a rant about, well, I wouldn't say a rant, but yeah, there was one up here, wasn't there? I talked a little bit about what I was reading currently and talking about the expanded universe and the current, how I prefer that to what Disney have done with the universe so far. And I did mention that it wasn't without its flaws to try and give a somewhat balanced view. I do want to just say I don't despise what Disney have done with the universe. I think that they've made a lot of mistakes, a lot of what I would say is genuine mismanagement of the franchise. But that it would be wrong to say that it was perfect before they took over. You know, I think that would be a very difficult to argue. Was it better? Yes. Most of it was, I'd say. But there was some rubbish, let's be honest. Right, what are we actually doing down here then? So this is Siege Mentality. Let's have a look. Siege Mentality, this is the class quest, this is the overall story. Alina Hark, sole survivor of the Sith attack that took Master Uggs's life, has given you the location of the Death Mark Research Lab. This is your only lead in trying to stop the Imperials from using the Death Mark laser against the Republic and its allies. Investigate the Mensav military laboratory in the Alsarkan lowlands on Alderaan. Okay, let's do it. Yes, I'm trying to think the parts of Disney's canon that I have enjoyed. I would say the first two series of The Mandalorian I really enjoyed. The third series was a bit of a mess, but I still enjoyed it, you know. It was the first series where I was sat thinking, what on earth are they doing? You know? It was very clearly, it had very clearly been interfered with by whatever, you know, whether it was corporate interference or something else. There was something strange going on there. But I think they've got enough enough goodwill from those first two series that you could kind of overlook it a little bit. The other thing I enjoyed was Andor. That was just so well written and well made that it made up for the fact that a lot of the time it felt like it was in a completely different universe. You know, I don't want to be unfair or anything, but there was, you know, it could have done with a bit of a coat of paint, I think. What else has there been? Rogue One. Yep, that was pretty good. Again, it did have its issues, and its issues mostly stemmed from the fact that it was a bit of a mess behind the scenes. I don't think we'll ever get the full story behind that. When it comes to the novels and things, I thought that Catalyst was very good. But of course it was written by James Luceno, the expanded universe author. Rebels. I really enjoyed Rebels. And this is coming from someone that's not a fan of the Clone Wars or well, much of the animation in general, really, but the Clone Wars I didn't really take to at all. And that was pre-Disney, you know? I would actually go as far as to say that my favourite Clone Wars episodes are probably the ones, you know, the Siege of Mandalore, which was a Disney episode, wasn't it? In fact, it wasn't. My favourite episodes are the ones where they frame Ahsoka in season... is that season 5, season 6? I'm not sure. But those are probably my favourite episodes. I genuinely enjoyed those. Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. I would go as far as to say that's probably one of my favourite Star Wars novels. And that's very... it feels very much like it could be expanded. Oh, sorry, buddy. Oh, you've done him. You killed him anyway, look. You know, it's very... it was an early one, wasn't it? It was an early canon novel, so it did have a sense of being part of the expanded universe. It didn't really... it could have fit in the expanded universe, other than the Jakku part, I guess, but even so. There's no reason why that battle couldn't have taken place, I suppose. It was a shame, really, because I think had they planned out what they were going to do with the sequel movies, rather than just making it up as they went along, I think they could have done something really good by building this expanded universe up around it. You know, and actually had it hint at things and introduce characters and whatever else. The comic books, the canon comic books, have been very hit and miss for me. I haven't read anything since probably 2020, maybe before. I'm not quite sure when the High Republic started. I only read the first 2 issues of that.
Hey, what took you so long?
They said you were dead. Thank the Force you're alive.
The Force and my lightsaber. Needed both this time. Relax, T7. I'm still in one piece. Blasted Sith almost killed me. Was all I could do to save Dr. Parvix.
The enemy left us here as food for the Killiks.
Taking down that Killik leader must have been quite a fight. Thing was huge.
If I did kill it, I didn't notice.
It's the size of... If that thing eats us, you're fired.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so what was I saying before I was rudely interrupted by Master Augus's survival? The comic books. I wouldn't say there's been any outstanding series that I've read anyway. Where's my lightsaber blade? I quite enjoyed the main series, the 2015 Star Wars series, for the most part, you know. I only read up to where it crossed over with The Empire Strikes Back and I stopped reading it. I've seen some of the stuff that came out afterwards and it looks very silly, with the handmaidens and... or is that the Darth Vader series? I'm not sure. Either way, oh, here he is. I quite enjoyed the 2015 Vader series. What I didn't enjoy was what they did with Afra, Dr. Afra. I thought she was fine in that initial series, but God, her solo series was just dreadful. I can't really read that. The audio drama they did as well, that expanded on the original 2015 series, I would say that was pretty dire as well. I'm not really a fan of that kind of quirky characters that they create, you know? What's up here then? Nothing? There was something I read a long time ago, and it was an article about what it called Buffy speak. You know, if you've ever seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you'll know what I mean. And that kind of Joss Whedon way of writing dialogue, it just seems to have permeated everything, most notably Marvel. You know, if you watch an MCU film now, they all speak in this certain way, and of course he directed the Avengers movie, so maybe it comes from that, I don't know, but oh god, it's awful. It's just, it really takes you out of a fictional universe, because nobody speaks like that. Anyway, let's see what August has got to say.
You all right, Doctor?
Don't worry about me. The death mark is in enemy hands. You must warn Count Alda.
The Count was just killed by the death mark.
The targeting device was taken to Organa Palace.
Have you met a woman calling herself Elena Hark?
She was with me when Count Alda died. She sent me here.
Must have thought the Killix would get rid of you for her. Elena's a spy. She helped the Sith steal the death mark, and now she's targeting people with it.
She could have marked dozens of people by now. The weapon's laser can kill them at any time, anywhere.
Not if we cut its power. The laser's still tied into the local energy grid, right?
Several power stations supply the laser. Deactivating them would take the laser offline, at least temporarily.
Get the doctor to safety. I'll deactivate the power stations.
I have coordinates to every station. Deactivate them in the order I've described. Don't leave even one functional.
We'll head to the closest Republic-friendly camp. Meet us there. May the Force be with you.
Right, so now I've got to deactivate a power station. Oh, well, we've got to leave this area anyway. Yes, I don't know if... because when you play a game like this, the dialogue, I wouldn't say it necessarily feels natural, you know? Some of the acting's pretty stilted, but I'm sure that's just because they got a voice actor, stuck them in a room and just had them read lines without any kind of context or anyone else to act off of, because it's just how... oh, do we leave someone alive? That's just how these games are made, you know? There's so many lines of dialogue they have to record, they couldn't possibly have everybody together. But yeah, it's very difficult for me now to watch a lot of things because they just have these awful ways of speaking. I would say it started with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it was at one time called Buffy Speak, but it has permeated pretty much every franchise, every piece of media that's trying to appeal to a broad audience anyway. Most famously, of course, it's from the Marvel films, but it also kind of went into the sequel trilogy as well. Not much, but it is there. Right, where are we going? Okay, it wants us to go this way to deactivate the primary power station. Come on, buddy. Let's see if we can do that then. It must be up here. Now, I don't want it to make it seem like I'm criticising how the characters spoke in stuff like Buffy and probably Firefly as well. That's another famous example, because I really liked those shows at the time. You know, it was new, it was interesting, but this idea that everybody speaks like that is well, kind of infuriating. It's not that. Oh, there it is. I think it just kind of... Cause I think it works in Marvel as well, you know? It doesn't bother me. I know a lot of people criticise it because it kind of makes the films feel more comedy than anything else, but yeah, that's what I go to see these films for, a little bit of light-hearted, shut your mind off entertainment. I don't mind it at all. But it doesn't work in Star Wars, and characters like Dr. Aphra just don't fit in that universe at all, in my mind.
Well, well. The Jedi who killed Tarnis back on Coruscant. I'd rather if you didn't shut down my laser's power stations. I need them. I have so many targets waiting to be vaporized. Who's next? The farm girl or the old colonel?
Even Sith don't murder random people.
You're missing the point. Imagine the terror spreading among Alderaan's people as death rains upon them. Oh dear. I'm afraid the farm girl didn't make it. I wonder how long the old colonel will survive. I can kill anyone I like, and there's nothing you can do about it. Have a lovely day.
Right. Okay, this guy seems a bit evil, doesn't he? Where are we heading to next? Over this way. Yeah. What was I saying? Dr. Aphra. Yes, my favourite character. It's not that I don't like the idea of the character. I think that the idea of like an archaeologist in Star Wars that's a bit of a rogue archaeologist, I think. Not quite sure what a rogue archaeologist is, but yeah, I quite like the idea behind the character, but I don't like the quirkiness and that kind of nonsense that they've come up with. Plus the fact that I'm pretty sure she defeats Vader in one issue, which is just absolutely stupid, you know? I know a lot of people hate the phrase Mary Sue and all this, but I think it does kind of fit for that character. She's just a... I suppose she does have flaws, but they're kind of flaws that are actually strengths, you know? Bit of a Dwight Schrute character in that sense.
Determined to spoil my fun, aren't you? Now I have to set up new power stations where you can't reach. At most, you've bought yourself a few hours. Proud of yourself?
What you're doing is twisted, even for Sith.
I enjoy life's simple pleasures. Don't judge me.
Oh, so we just have to go back here and report to August. Well, let's go and do that. The next mission is actually to leave the this area. I do recognise that comic books are absolutely full of characters like Dr. Aphra, by the way. Where is he? You know, you've got lots of characters in Marvel. I mean, a lot of the... Oh, is he in here? Yes. You know... I don't know what to call them. Just calling them female insert characters. You know, all of these ones that have basically taken the identities of established male characters. They all just, for me, unreadable. It's just rubbish. But to each their own.
I deactivated the laser's power stations, but Darth Angrel's apprentice contacted me. Dozens of innocent people are targets of the Death Mark.
We need to end this before he brings that laser back online. This is Win Organa, chief negotiator of the peace talks to end this war.
Elena Hark had free run of Organa Palace. Everyone there could be a target, including me.
I saw her surrender to the guards when Count Alder was assassinated.
She never made it to her cell. The guards escorting her were found dead. However, my spies report a woman matching her description entered House Thul's compound.
House Thul. They support the Empire.
Yes, but Duke Thul openly advocates the peace process. I thought he was sincere.
What if the Sith want to silence him?
The last thing Darth Angrel wants is peace.
If Duke Thul is killed by a Republic secret weapon, the peace process will never recover.
Hate to say it, but our best bet is to storm in there and stop Elena.
I'm ready to go when you are, Master.
You're in charge of recovering the Death Mark from House Thul. I have my own mission. There's only a few places Angel's apprentice could be operating from. We need to narrow down that list of candidates.
You're just going to wander around the planet?
Much as I enjoy the weather, no. I'll go where the Force leads me. Our destinies part here, my friend. I'll contact you when I've found our enemy.
I hope to hear from both of you when this threat is ended.
Head for House Thul. May the Force be with you.
Right, so... Right, yes, it wants us to use the speeder. Let's have a look, see where it wants to take us.
Welcome. Please select an available
Hang on a
travel
minute.
route.
What the
Have a
hell
safe
is...
and pleasant stay.
What the hell is this thing? What on earth is that meant to be? What a weird thing to have on your taxi run.
Vehicle pads are currently open for business.
Okay, it looks like we're heading up here for Spy Hunter. We've got another mission, haven't we? Uldo's Secret,
Have a safe and pleasant stay.
which must be still on this map here. Well, let's go and do that first before we leave the area. Okay, so I've gone through the Disney stuff that I have enjoyed. I have a much longer list of the stuff that I haven't enjoyed. But honestly, I get kind of fed up of talking about it. I mean, Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, Jesus, what else was there? I think those were the two most offensive to me. When I say offensive, I mean they were just, you know, not very good. I wasn't actually offended by them. Yeah, one of my favourite things to do actually when talking about those shows was in chat rooms. I say chat rooms, what are they called? Messenger. You know, with other fans, is is to like talk about what I would have done differently, and I have to do that in kind of private settings now, because so many people do get offended when you try to tell them that, oh, I wouldn't have done it that way, I'd have done this. They go, ooh. No, they act like you've just run over the dog or something. It's very strange. I'm not sure if you've ever come across that kind of reaction to a opinion. But I mean, there was a lot about, I'd say specifically Kenobi. That was one of those series that they should have just got right. I mean, there really was no excuse for it. No excuse whatsoever. Oh, looks like a little story area, doesn't it? Okay, so this is infiltrate the Ulgo Pain Factory. Let's have a look. Ulgo's secret. Kekana Hirot at Ward Post Duval wants to determine how Ulgo forces are able to turn the Killiks against the Organa forces. After interrogating a Killik joiner, she has discovered that the Ulgos are torturing the Killiks at a facility known as the Pain Factory nearby. Infiltrate the Pain Factory facility in the Alsakan lowlands. Okay. This looks pretty much identical to where we were previously, doesn't it? But never mind. Kill everybody. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on with the fandom at the minute. There just seems to be a complete shutdown of discussion in public, you know, Facebook groups or wherever else you're talking. And I'm from the generation that did most of their discussions in forums, you know. I used to be a member of the Dark Horse forum because I was a huge fan of the comics back in the during the prequel era. Was when I was collecting. The prequel era and afterwards, of course. Knights of the Old Republic and Legacy. They were the ones that I was really, you know, I collected every single issue. I used to get on the bus into town to the comic shop and buy them, and I'd read them on the way home. I was, you know, looking forward on a monthly basis to these issues. It was, well, there's nothing like that nowadays. I mean, even the comic series I do collect, which isn't many now. I don't collect any Star Wars. To be honest, the only comic book I get on a monthly basis are the Doom adaptations they're doing. And even then, you know, they're few and far between. And I don't read them straight away because I'll be reading them when I get to the book, which I'm reading that series in chronological order, so I'm nowhere near the series that they've released so far. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing that I look forward to in that sense. It's a bit of a shame, isn't it? I do get quite a few magazines from Forbidden Planet online, Retro Fan and things like that. Very nostalgic. Alter Ego's another one. But yeah, I wouldn't say I really sit there looking forward to getting them. It's just a completely different era now, isn't it, I suppose? But the discussions we used to have used to be, you know, we were allowed to say what we didn't like about issues, which back in those days it was more the, I think the Empire and Rebellion, which was more hit and miss than the John and Jan stuff that they were doing and Knights of the Old Republic. I do remember there was a lot of frustration about the backwards and forwards with with John and Jan's storylines. I know that Quinlan Voss, it was constantly, is he going to the dark side? No, he's not. Oh, is he going to the dark side? Next issue, no, he's not. You know, it was very similar with Legacy. But what you have to remember is we're reading these things on a monthly basis. Whereas a lot of the time they were intended to be read as a complete novel almost. You know, that's how they're written, as story arcs. There's nothing in here, that's unusual. But yeah, what were the other ones that came out that were quite kind of frustrating to read? Empire and Rebellion, yeah, they were very hit and miss. A lot of that was the other thing. Knights of the Old Republic, that got criticised quite a bit because of its. Occasionally, it had like a filler story arc that didn't really seem to move the story on. Honestly, I'm talking and I'm just exiting the place that I'm an idiot. Yeah, for my money, I'd say that the Clone Wars stuff that John and Jan did was probably the best that Star Wars comics got, closely followed by Tales of the Jedi. Might be controversial. I thought Legacy was probably a close third, and then there's probably series like Crimson Empire, which I just absolutely love. That'd be very highly ranked, but you know, they're relatively short. I wasn't that much of a fan of Crimson Empire 2 or 3. They were good, don't get me wrong, but I think that they'd have been better had they tied in more to the new Jedi Order, which like they were originally meant to do. I think they were originally meant to set that off, weren't they? I know Nominor is in Crimson Empire 2 as a shadowy character, setting up those events. There's a lot of guys here. But yeah, we were allowed to criticise stuff, and they did take it to heart quite a bit, the creators, because they were all engaged with what we were saying. Nowadays, of course, you know, if you want to talk to a comic book creator, you can probably just hit them up on Twitter or something, but you're more likely to see all their political opinions and whatever else, which is just going to really sour your, well, potentially sour your interpretation of their books. As you suddenly realise that they're an absolute idiot. I don't know. It's a tough one. It really is a tough one. Double checking I'm not heading back the way I came in. You know, to some extent I like to not really know anything about the people whose creativity I'm enjoying, because it just kind of ruins it for me when I find out that they're whatever, you know. But especially when they're insulting of people and you feel quite alienated by it, because you get the impression they're talking about people like you. Okay, this is where we're meant to be coming, isn't it? So guess I'm going to have to kill all these people in a moment.
Jedi, alert base and assume battle positions. Retarget the torture droids. Release the Killiks if you have to. We can take the enemy's very best.
You've done enough already. I won't let you hurt anyone else.
You don't know anything about this, Jedi, and you're never going to learn. For House Ugo! For the crown!
House Ulgo and the crown. Yeah, you can probably tell I'm very nostalgic for the early days of the Star Wars. I suppose when I say the early days, I mean the stuff that I grew up with, the 1990s kind of era. I just don't enjoy a lot of the stuff now. I find far more to criticise about it than I do to enjoy about it, and that's not very healthy. This guy's got a hell of a lot of health, hasn't he? Going up there and all, buddy. He's dead. Right, what about you? You're dead too. Right, so he unleashed these torture droids, but they didn't actually attack us, which is interesting. They were useless, weren't they? Yeah, I'm curious what people think of the High Republic. That's something that I found the creators behind that to be quite insufferable, I have to admit. But I was really intrigued by what I saw in Jedi Survivor. That was really, really well designed and really interesting. I'm all dead. I read the first novel when it came out and I did enjoy it. You know, I'm not going to say that it was rubbish.
If it isn't my favorite strike team, tell me you found the Ulgo Paint Factory.
They've got quite a setup. Looks like the Ulgos were here a while.
Ulgo's going to have a hard time riling up the Killiks now. Gives us breathing room. Of course, it'd be a shame to let all that tech go to waste. But Ulgo learned a few things about the bugs.
The Killiks are living creatures. There's nothing to learn from this sort of brutality.
The Killiks are animals. Smart, but not that smart. I might be able to replicate the Ulgo experiments. Bring the Killiks onto our side. See if you can salvage the data and equipment.
Sorry, but I can't let someone else torture a sentient life form.
You don't think of anyone but yourself. Fine. You should get out of there. Meet me at the command post for a debrief.
Right, okay. Now I've got to return to old Kaikana Heart. And you know what? We might as well just fast travel there, right? Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I read the first novel of the High Republic and quite enjoyed it, but yeah, the comic book series didn't do much for me, the first couple of issues that I read, and then I saw what the creators were saying online, and I just thought, you know what, this isn't for me. Yeah, it's... How can I say this without sounding like a scumbag, but you know, it very much felt like they were putting things like diversity over story. I might be wrong. I'd be interested to see how that all turned out anyway.
The strike team destroyed the Ulgo facility. Killik attacks have fallen by 40% already.
It seems putting you in charge was the right decision after all.
Thank you, sir.
And this must be your strike team. Always a pleasure to see you.
It's been too long already.
But then we strike at House Ulgo itself. Thanks to all of you.
I know we had our differences, but I'm willing to bury them. I've got battle plans to draw and a lot of stimcaf to drink.
I hope everything goes well. Be careful.
You too. This war's no good for any of us, and it's a long way from over.
Right, okay, so we have successfully completed the missions in this area. I'm not quite sure what's meant to be down here. I'm assuming that is maybe a part of another class quest, or I don't know. Anyway, let's
Please select an available travel route.
head up to Ward Post Lander Thranta.
Have a safe and pleasant stay.
Oh, this is new, isn't it? Not been on one of these before. I'll be honest, of all the maps I've had so far, this is the most reminiscent of World of Warcraft. And this flying beast does not help. It's lovely design though, isn't it, the map? I mean, the stuff around here is brilliant. But yes, I could definitely see myself. Jesus, it's been years since I played World of Warcraft. I can't remember what any other places are called. God. I didn't think it was that far away. We're in an Organa camp anyway, so hopefully this is the place. Yes, here we are. Right, let us get our bearings. I seem to be running into a wall for some reason there. Right. So, we've got some missions to open up here, and then we've got to speak to Major Crescent. There he is.
Ulgo's forces are advancing, Lieutenant. You will hold that outpost, no excuses. Crescent out. A Jedi. Thank every star in the sky. Major Crescent, 1st Organa Regiment. I'm in charge of holding this area against the usurper who calls himself King Ulgo.
This usurper king of yours, who is he?
The reason Alderaan's at war. Ulgo violated our rule of succession, seized Alderaan's crown by force. All my forces are committed to holding back Ulgo's army, but an important mission has just come up. I need volunteers to invade an enemy stronghold and rescue one of my people.
I can't help unless you tell me everything, Major.
It's my daughter, Andra. She's been captured. Against my express wishes, she infiltrated the Ulgos posing as a lowly servant girl. She thinks she's some kind of hero. A reckless little fool.
Your daughter is a very brave young woman.
Brave? It's lunacy. She has no training. That's why she got caught. 2 days ago, Andra transmitted an emergency alert. Ulgo jammed the frequency before she could reveal any information. I feared the worst, until my scouts picked up a distress call earlier today. It's a signal from Andra. She's alive.
I won't leave your daughter to die with the enemy.
I will be forever grateful to you, Master Jedi. I've already lost Andra's mother and brothers to this war. If you save her, this recklessness must end. She won't listen to me, but you might convince her to abandon her foolishness. I'll reward you for that favor.
One mission objective at a time, Major.
Yes, of course. Andra's signal came from the estate of House Rist, not far from here. That filth Ulgo must have turned my daughter over to the Rist assassins for torture.
Are Rist and Ulgo allies?
They support Ulgo's claim to the throne. In return, he pays them to do his dirty work. Assassinations, torture, sabotage. Please get Andra away from those filthy killers. Good luck.
Okay. House Wrist. So that's the first time we've come upon them. That's up there. Okay, so there's the way to the spy hunter mission. And there's another mission in here. Somewhere. There it is. Oh, it's a mission terminal. Oh, it's a bounty board, actually. I'm not sure we want to do any bounties, do we? I think we'll do bounties some other time if we're going to do that. Yeah, okay, so we need to head up here first, and then we can head down there. But I think I am going to do that next week. I've been playing for quite a while, and I'm absolutely starving. So I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching.